What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And so the copyright lawsuit goes on. We've been covering this ever since it became a thing, ever since the lawsuit was filed. We just recently covered, I think it was last week, the latest update on this copyright lawsuit and some of the statements that were being made. And now, as you can see it, together, Filmmaker, Michael Shanks, Neon, and WME respond to suit alleging copyright infringement. So, those who had filed the lawsuit, their names escape me, came out with some comments. Their lawyer also came out with some comments. Like I said, it was last week sometime. We covered it recently. And now here is the response from those on the other side of the table. On the side of the table that put together and are looking to release it later this year at some point. Actually, I think in the next, August, July or August, I think it's supposed to be coming out. Assuming nothing unforeseen keeps it from getting released. So let's jump into these article details. We're gonna try and make this a quick one. So I know some of this can be kind of daunting, but when it comes to copyright lawsuits, especially when it comes to films, when someone's claiming that their idea, their story, their script has been stolen, especially when the information is that the two actors that are in the film being accused of stealing were offered supposedly the original script and story, and it was turned down, and then turn around and then make a movie that supposedly, allegedly, is the exact same film. So Michael Shanks, the writer and director of the forthcoming body horror flick Together, has issued a statement in response to a recently filed lawsuit accusing him of copyright infringement. Now, keep in mind, we did find out in the last update that supposedly, and I believe it was Michael Shanks, had turned in a script to WME, or had filed a script for Together back in 2019, which was pre the time of those alleged that he stole the script, had theirs in place. So if that's the case, then this lawsuit is nonsense. There's no, it's baseless. And my thing is if that's the case, and if that is true, then show the evidence, show that the script that you put out there, that you filed and everything was done, and let's be done with this. But the fact that hasn't been done yet, the fact that you wouldn't just come out and say, hey, listen, I filed this script, I did this script well before your film was ever even made, so here it is, right? Done and done. Wash your hands of it and move on. I'm not sure why that hasn't been done yet. So let's keep going. Noting that the allegations are devastating and have taken a heavy toll, Shanks asserted that the relationship tale is completely rooted in my own personal life. The filmmaker goes on to say that the suggestion of copyright infringement not only undermines the work, but also attempts to erase the emotional and professional journey I've taken to bring it to life. Along with Shanks, actor, producers Allison Brie and Dave Franco are named in the lawsuit, along with WME, which reps all three, and the film's distributor. Neon filed May 13th the suit. We're not going to read the suit, but I will provide the link for this article in the description of this video below. So if you want to click where it says read here, as you can see, it is a link. You can go there and read the suit details, but we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that today. Alleges that Together is a blatant ripoff of Better Half, a 2023 indie written and directed by Patrick Henry Phelan. All right, let's keep going. All right, so in their own joint statement, Neon and WME said the plaintiff is doing nothing more than drumming up 15 minutes of fame for a failed project, demonstrated by the fact they contacted the press before filing their lawsuit and did so without doing the most basic due diligence. The companies added that the plaintiff doesn't care about the facts, they only care about making waves in the press right before a film is released in order to get a payday. We look forward to presenting our case in court. So I think I misspoke earlier as far as who they who Shanks filed or submitted his script to. I said WME. Obviously, I got that wrong. That's one of the companies that's filed in the suit. I can't remember the association. Hopefully, it's in here. But I do remember that being in the last update that we covered on this. So I just wanted to correct myself while we're going through this real quickly. All right. So the companies added that the plaintiff. So we already read that. No. Let's see here. They only care about making waves. Yep. So premiering to critical acclaim at this year's Sundance Film Festival, Taylor was snapped up by Neon for $17 million in the biggest deal out of Park City this year. Slated for release on July 30th. The film follows a couple. So we know the synopsis. So yeah, the 30th. We're just a little over a month away, roughly 6.5, 7 weeks, give or take. And again, that's assuming nothing out of the ordinary comes up for this lawsuit, because if something does come up and they can't prove that they didn't take the idea, or those who are alleging their idea was stolen manages to convince a judge or somebody that it was in fact stolen, that they have grounds, this could get delayed. And Neon spent $17 million for a film they potentially won't be able to release, which that's gonna hurt. All right, so let's keep going. Moving on. So I think this here, because it says up here, Michael Shanks, right here where his name is. I'm assuming, let's see here. I'm assuming this is all a quote from him. Have you ever been in a relationship so long that the line between you and the other person starts to blur? I've been with my partner. So I think this just goes on as a quote. Let's see. Let's cherry pick this a little bit here. Okay. So right here, Together, what inspired Together. It's not just a script, it's a reflection of something deeply personal. I know there was something more. I wish I didn't have to clarify this, but I completed the first. Yes, this is what I was talking about earlier. It was the Writers Guild, so I'm glad that they mentioned it here. That's what it was. I completed the first draft in 2019 and registered it with the Writers Guild of America that same year. In October 2020, I received development funding from Screen Australia to further the project. In 2022, my agent at WME introduced me to Dave Franco. From our very first meeting, we bonded over our love of horror and pitched him Together, a script I had been trying to get into production for years with no luck. Soon after, he and Alison Brie came on board to act in and produce the film. To now be accused of stealing this story, one so deeply based on my own lived experience, one I've developed over the course of several years, is devastating and have taken a heavy toll. All right, so let's keep going. So I want to see if I think that, so here's probably the statement from Neon WME. The play length is doing nothing more than drumming up a 15 minutes of fame for a failed project. So we've read that up above. And they go on to say here, almost all the alleged similarities were in Shanks' original 2019 script, much of it inspired by his own life and relationship with his longtime girlfriend. The plaintiff doesn't care about the facts. They only care about making waves in the press. So again, a little bit more of the quote from above. All right, so let's keep going. I think that might be the end. Yeah, that is the end of the article. So I think the important thing here is, I mean, yes, their response is pretty much a legal response. I think everyone would expect it to hear and see. Oh, you're just, it's all allegations. None of it's true. They're all baseless, so on and so forth. I mean, they're of course not going to speak in great detail about it since it is an ongoing lawsuit. But this is they both speak on the fact of this 2019 script, the fact that he had a script written, he filed it with the Writers Guild in 2019, spent years trying to get it going. At least as he's stating up here above. But I think that's the smoking gun, so to speak. Again, if you completed right here, I completed my first draft in 2019 and registered it that same year. And here we are, depending upon when he did that, roughly 6 years later. And supposedly when this was shown at the film festival, mentioned the two that co-wrote or wrote the script for the other film. Let's go back up and find the name of it real quickly here. Better Half said that they were in shock of what they were seeing, that their idea was completely ripped off. So I would think, and again, I'm not sure how this works because it says here a 2023 indie written and directed film. So I'm not sure if they had to do anything as far as filing a draft with the Writers Guild. I'm not sure. Maybe if they're not a member of the Writers Guild, they don't have to. But again, I would think they would have to show some level of evidence that theirs was their idea. Their thing was in place, documented in place prior to 2019, to when Shanks submitted his first script, and it's clearly documented at the Writers Guild of when it was submitted. Again, that to me is the smoking gun. That should be something that should be able to clear this whole lawsuit up completely, especially if the script has remained vastly unchanged and is, par for the course as far as what the film, the film Together is depicting. Because if that's the case, again, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's absolutely baseless, and this should be a pretty easy decision by any judge or jury to say, well, no, because he filed it, the movie follows, and body horror is body horror. Just because you have a concept of an idea doesn't mean no one else can use it. And I mentioned this before. It's like action movies. It's not like you can copyright, explosions or buildings falling down or like superheroes. Oh, this superhero's wearing a cape. I'm going to copyright the fact that Superman can wear a cape and no one else can wear a cape, right? I know that's very high level. I'm just saying you got to be careful as far as what you're going to go after. Now, it very well could be the fact that they couldn't get their project off the ground, saw some similarities in this film and say, hey, let's go after them. There's some big names, some heavy hitters attached to this project together. So let's go after them, try to get paid for the work that we did when no one wanted to pick it up. So anyways, that's going to do it for this quick horror news update on the copyright infringement lawsuit for the film Together, which hopefully we still do get to see come July. I've been waiting for this film. I've been interested in seeing this film. I think we've covered every piece of information on this from the time we got the first look images to the trailer to now the constant updates on the lawsuit. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Do you see this film getting delayed? Do you see that it might not get released? Or are you kind of seeing what I'm seeing is if they just present the evidence that they're claiming they have, this should be a pretty, cut and dry, right, case to be thrown out. So let me know down in the comment section. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.